Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler is officially off of UFC 303, as well as Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg, and it is being replaced with Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira 2, Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega, and Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. I was just sitting here thinking, I don't think the Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler fight's going to be off. You know, the UFC Instagram just posted a promo for Conor McGregor's return. They re-uploaded the free fights of McGregor versus Diaz after taking him down originally. So I thought this fight was going to be still on, even after everything Helwani was saying. But he was right. Conor McGregor is out. Michael Chandler is out. They're probably going to just reschedule that fight later down the line, I'm assuming. But we're getting Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka, the rematch in the main event instead. Man, this is interesting. I know Magomed Ankalaev, he was next in line, but he wants everything on his terms, man. He wants it in Abu Dhabi. He's the challenger. He wants the champ to come to his home territory. Just ridiculous. And I don't expect him to take this fight on short notice. I'm not blaming him, but Jiri Prochazka and Alex Pereira both, these guys are fucking legends. These guys are absolute legends. Stepping in 2 weeks' notice. 2 weeks' notice, they're stepping in. Alex Pereira is stepping in on 2 weeks' notice and putting his belt on the line against a guy like Jiri Prochazka. Nothing bad to say about either of these guys, man. Just fucking legends. Absolutely respect both of them. I'm excited for that one. If Alex Pereira can't put him away again in the early rounds, Jiri can have him in trouble in those later rounds. That chin, that cardio, that pressure he can put on in those later rounds, that's going to be dangerous for Pereira if he can't get him out of there again. But, I mean, Jiri, he just does not check leg kicks. Alex is probably going to just chew up that leg again of Prochazka. But is he going to knock him out again? I don't know, man. I don't know if he knocks him out again. I think this is going to be a closer fight than the first one. I think this being on short notice favors Jiri drastically. Yuri's a guy, he doesn't really need a camp, man. He just kind of goes out there and goes with the flow, you know. He's throwing spinning elbows, whatever. I think being on short notice benefits Jiri more than Alex. But Alex has already fought Jiri, so he kind of knows what to expect. So I like that a rematch is being booked on 2 weeks' notice because both these guys have already fought each other. They know kind of what to expect at this point. I would rather see this than Magomed Ankalaev. I think Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira should both have a full camp for that fight. I think it should also not be in Abu Dhabi because Magomed Ankalaev is the challenger. He should not be fighting for the belt in his home turf against Alex Pereira, who would be coming off his third title defense at light heavyweight at that point. So, yeah, it should definitely be on Pereira's home turf, I guess Brazil. Even though the Brazil crowds suck, do it in Brazil. It's better than Abu Dhabi. But early prediction for that fight, I'm probably going to lean towards Alex Pereira. But I don't know, man. I'm flip-flopping back and forth on that one. I might go Jiri on the week of the fight, which is just a week away. But I'm going to lean towards Pereira. Jiri does not check leg kicks, dude. And Pereira's leg kicks are so nasty. No telegraph, so powerful. He was getting chewed up by Rakic. And Rakic's leg kick, he does have good leg kicks, but Pereira's are so much harder and do so much more damage. I'm going to lean towards Pereira in that one. I think if he beats him, he wins by leg kick TKO. I don't know if he chins Prochazka again. I'm going to be honest. It was already controversial in some people's eyes. They thought it was a controversial stoppage. I thought it was a good stoppage. But you can argue Jiri wasn't out. It was a flash KO. He was definitely out for a little bit and then immediately woke up. But, man, Yuri's chin is just insane, man. I don't think he'll KO him. I think if Pereira wins, he does so much damage to that leg, the legs of Jiri Prochazka, limits that mobility, limits the explosiveness of Jiri, and I think he could win a decision, maybe 49-46. So I'm probably gonna lean Pereira 49-46. I could see him TKOing with leg kicks. I could see that. I don't think he's gonna knock him out again. I can't see Jiri getting knocked out. Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega replaces Carlos Ulberg versus Jamal Hill as the co-main event. I really like this fight. This was rumored earlier today, but we just got official word. 10:53, this tweet came out, so it's about 30 minutes ago at this point. I love this fight. 2 weeks notice again. Again, respect for both of these guys. This is such a good fight. Two really good submission artists. Diego Lopes looking like he could be the future of the featherweight division. A lot of people comparing him to Charles Oliveira. I could see it. He's dangerous on the feet and a really good submission artist, just like Oliveira. So I see the comparison. I'm favoring Diego Lopes in this fight. You know, younger. He's a little bit more active than Ortega. I know Ortega just fought, but before that, he had a long layoff. Lopes has been fighting pretty actively. And Diego Lopes, I think he's just better than Ortega on the feet. And he's not going to be scared to go to the ground with Ortega because he can match his submission threat on the ground. And we saw what Yair Rodriguez did to Brian Ortega on the feet. Diego Lopes, he's not as good as Yair is on the feet, but he does have insane power, and he is better than Ortega on the feet. So I could see him dropping Ortega and following him to the ground, maybe locking up an arm triangle or finishing him off with ground and pound, something like that. I think my early pick for that one is going to be Diego Lopes by second round TKO, but I'm excited for that one. That's a big step up for Lopes, going from Sadiq Yusuff to Brian Ortega. That's no joke. That's a huge jump up in the rankings, but I think Diego Lopes has what it takes to get that one done. And Carlos Ulberg is staying on the card. He's fighting Anthony Smith instead of Jamal Hill. Really don't want to see this one. I think Carlos Ulberg is going to smoke Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, he did fraud check Vitor Petrino in his last fight, but Vitor Petrino is just kind of he kind of gave off fraud vibes. I'm not gonna lie. But Carlos Ulberg, he's not gonna be as dumb as Vitor Petrino, where Vitor Petrino was piecing up Anthony Smith on the feet, and then he shoots for a takedown, and Anthony Smith gets a guillotine, and then he still goes for the takedown instead of just giving it up and fighting off the guillotine. He drops himself deeper into the guillotine and taps. Carlos Ulberg does not have that low a fight IQ. He's got more experience. He's not as dumb. And if Vitor Petrino is piecing Anthony Smith up, I think Carlos Ulberg is also going to piece him up. Really good kickboxer. I think Anthony Smith is in trouble here. I respect him for taking the fight. Again, all six of these guys, nothing but respect. Or Carlos Ulberg was already on the fight, but he did have to accept a change in opponent. Even though it's a step down, it's whatever. Still, a change of opponent is a change of opponent. And Anthony Smith has the jiu-jitsu that Jamal Hill isn't really going to use. So, got to prepare for that. He was preparing for a boxer in Jamal Hill. Now he's getting a guy who can pull off submissions in Anthony Smith. But, yeah, I am going to pick Carlos Ulberg. I think he's going to get it done by round 3 KO. I think he's going to finish him off in the last round. I just think it's going to be too much for Anthony Smith. But, yeah, those are my early picks for these 3 fights that were just announced for UFC 303, which is just 2 weeks away. Let me know what you guys think about these fights. Who are you picking? Do you think Jiri's going to be able to get it done this time? You think Lopes is going to get it done? You think Anthony Smith is going to pull off another upset? Let me know. Excited for this card. I think this is a better card now that McGregor's off of it. I like these 3 fights more than the 2 that we previously had. But yeah, excited for this 303 card. Excited for these 3 matchups. I think it's going to be a really fun card. And I'll be back tomorrow night after the card for my post-card breakdown of Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira.